had watched so many YouTube videos, we had read so much online, but nothing could prepare us for what was going to happen in Egypt. So huge welcome to our channel. I'm going to be sharing all our travel tips and things that we wish we knew before traveling to specific countries. So make sure you hit that follow button. Where the hell do I begin? So it's one of the few countries where I feel there's so much potential, so many things to see, but the people let it down. I hate to say that, but they do. So I'm going to give you some context to where we went to, what we did, where we faced problems, which was pretty much everywhere, and what you can do differently when visiting Egypt. We always try our best to fly from Heathrow, but on this occasion we flew from Gatwick, and it was an EasyJet flight on the way there, all the way to Sharm el-Sheikh. I didn't start off on the right foot. EasyJet, my tray table was not working, and I'm still in a little bit of a war with them via emails, but this is not what this video is about. In Meraki Resort in Sharm el-Sheikh, and it is an absolutely stunning resort. You feel like you're in Mykonos or Santorini. We were there for 6 nights. The only issue we had was the food, and we knew from other people who have been to Egypt, from Googling, that the food in Egypt really isn't that great. I'm plant-based and my husband, he eats everything. But being plant-based, I found it so difficult to understand what exactly was vegan, what didn't have dairy, and it was a lot of guesswork. So I'll be doing a whole nother video on being plant-based in Egypt. We had already been warned by a close friend that it's so common to get food poisoning in Egypt. So I started looking online and also found that it was super common, and it also can be quite fatal. So before we went, we made sure that we took probiotics 2 weeks before going to Egypt, and I highly recommend it. Apart from the food and the lack of choices in our resort, it was an incredible resort. We had a great time, and we decided to book a tour through the hotel. It's a 5-star hotel, bear in mind. So you would think that every single guest would be given the same price for a tour, but no. We booked a tour to go to the White Island in Egypt, which is basically the equivalent of the Egyptian Maldives, and it was stunning. However, we got talking to a few people on the same tour who booked through the same hotel, who some of them were paying half the price that we were paying. Part of this tour, diving was included, and there were some incredible photos and video footage taken. But I ended up paying $80, whereas some people ended up paying $40 for exactly the same thing. Basically a common theme that you literally need to haggle with anyone and anything. Honestly, we were in Sharm el-Sheikh for 6 nights. We didn't really need to be. Maybe 4 would have maybe been a bit better, just because there's not a lot to do. But we did go out a couple nights, and on the way home, one of the nights, the taxi driver, who was a local taxi driver, he basically asked how many camels was I worth. And at first it seemed like a joke, but then I realised he wasn't joking. So after Sharm el-Sheikh, we flew to Cairo. We were quite rested, and we knew the rest of the trip was going to be super packed. So we got a flight. However, you can get overnight sleeper trains, which would probably be a bit more cost effective, but we were on a time schedule. So we had 2 choices. We would either stay in a hotel in Cairo and then go to the pyramids, to Giza on like day trips, or we would stay in the heart of Giza. We were torn because we had heard loads of different conflicting views about what to do, but we ended up staying in Giza, which in hindsight may have been a mistake. So Giza is an hour away from Cairo driving, and there is loads and loads of traffic. You are literally in traffic the whole time, cars beeping, cars horning, cars going in and out. I honestly thought that we were on some sort of racing track at times, but we made it in one piece. The place on the outside was super dingy. It looked horrible. However, the room was fairly decent for what it was, and the views of the pyramids were incredible. So I highly recommend it for the views. The one thing that we found is they didn't have Wi-Fi last minute, and I don't know whether that was because they wanted people to book all their tours through the hotel. So we had booked a couple through Vieta, which we needed to confirm, but because they didn't have Wi-Fi, it was a struggle to get internet to confirm that we were going to be ready at XYZ time. We went on quad bikes to the desert, which was one of the best experiences we've done. However, the one thing they do not allow you to do on the way to the desert where the pyramids are is about a 20-minute quad bike drive through the streets of Giza is take videos. He told me he wasn't allowing it because my camera, my GoPro, might have got snatched out of my hand. However, based off what we saw, I think it was just because they don't want it to get out that this is what Egypt is really like. So I don't have any footage of Giza, but I can tell you a few things that we did see. In quad bikes through these roads, there's people on either side, there's horses, there's camels. We could have easily got knocked out. There's loads and loads of children just riding horses. They have no idea what they're doing. They're going all over the place. It was quite dangerous. But the one thing that made me honestly feel physically so sick, at one point we saw a few dead horses, and horses, just bear in mind, are huge, but we could just see it so vividly, and it's a memory that I will never ever be able to unsee. I completely get it's a poor country, but I've been to a lot of poor countries and I've never seen anything like that, where there's just dead horses on the road, rubbish everywhere, people everywhere, kids on horses going past you at wild speeds, camels on the other side. It was just, in one word, mayhem. Also, staying where we were staying and sleeping, I felt like someone was honestly breaking in to our hotel room at night. One thing I would say about pyramids is 12% of their GDP comes from tourism. So the fact they've not invested a penny into Giza and the surrounding area is, to me, insane. So we were in Cairo for 2 nights, and then we went to Luxor, which is where I would say we had the worst experiences. So one of the days we decided to go to the local market in Luxor, and I think the markets in Cairo are better, but we went and we were hassled 24/7. I've seen so much online about Luxor, I really knew I wanted to go, and I'm so glad we did go. The first day at the hotel, we literally just chilled. The hotel was super nice, it was on the River Nile, it had a pool, and the weather was amazing. So the second day we went on a hot air balloon, which we had booked on Vieta. We paid about £140 for 2 people, which, speaking to other people, if you book there locally, we could have most likely got the hot air balloon for 2 of us for about £80. None of us have ever done a hot air balloon, so it was super exciting. It was a really early start, however, it was so worth it. We went over the Valley of the Kings. The only downside I would say is, which I never realised with a hot air balloon, but it makes sense, it can land literally anywhere. We almost landed in a swamp. 20 men had to get the hot air balloon out, and then we had to walk through mud to kind of get out of there. So something to bear in mind in terms of footwear: do not wear a dress and sandals like I did. Days we did go to the Valley of the Kings. It was incredible, but we felt like a tipping machine. Every single person would come up to us, try to take photos, and then they'd want a tip. We didn't want a photo. They would come into our photos, be in the photo, and then ask for a tip. We even had a security guard who had a gun come up to us, take our phone, take a photo of us, and behind his back put his hand there and ask for money. It was really intimidating. Obviously, at that point, you can't not tip. Don't really want to get in trouble with a security guard who has a gun. When it comes to tipping in Egypt, just be prepared that you are going to have to tip at points. If anyone says, "Shall I take a photo of you?" don't give your phone if you're not prepared to tip. Next day we went to Luxor Temple and Karnak Temple, which was amazing. The problem we had was, as our tour guide, she wasn't great. She'll give us some information and then she let us roam free for however long. But it made us a lot more vulnerable because there was not anyone with us, and it was very clear it was just us as a couple. So we kept getting harassed non-stop. We felt very uneasy at times. We felt like we were getting followed. As a woman, I was getting constantly stared at as if someone was going to take me. However, it's one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. So in summary, we felt like walking ATMs. We felt we had to tip everywhere. He got food poisoning. We also found people in Egypt have the ability to switch very quickly. So they would be super nice when they want your money, but as soon as you say no thank you, I felt as a woman quite disrespected in lots of ways. I was asked to be sold for camels, but also obviously funny things when you get called Shakira, which is quite common. As a solo traveller, I would have felt super uncomfortable because I was literally stared at. Guys were coming so close to me, even though my husband was literally next to me. It was really creepy at times, more so in Cairo and Luxor. In all honesty, the food isn't the best in Egypt for meat eaters or vegetarians and vegans. We were hassled everywhere we went, and there was a point towards the end of a holiday we literally just wanted to get out because we had had enough. It was too much. It didn't feel like an enjoyable trip. It felt like we're going to a country to see all these amazing things and enjoy ourselves whilst we're seeing them because we're constantly harassed. I personally would recommend going to Egypt because you will see incredible sights and there's so much to see. If you're into history, you will absolutely love it. However, we would not go back again because we've seen what we needed to see and we felt that people let it down. Let me know in the comments if you've been to Egypt and what your experience was, or if you're planning to go.